Liebe Kolleginnen und Kollegen vom Bundesinstitut für Risikobewertung, dear colleagues of the German Federal Institute for Risk Assessment, on behalf of the European Chemicals Agency, herzlichen Glückwunsch zum 20. Geburtstag. Congratulations for 20 years of identifying risks to protect people's health. In those 20 years, you have made BFR a renowned institute with international recognition in the field of risk assessment. You have achieved that through your expertise, doing independent scientific assessments to deliver impartial contributions to assure the safety of food, chemicals and products. 20 years ago, much of the legislation in the fields that we are working in was conceived. Over the years, we have gained experience with implementation and new issues have come up. And now we see that policy developments, the European Green Deal, the Farm to Fork strategy, and the Chemical Strategy for Sustainability give new impetus and lead to further improvement of the regulatory framework in which we operate. On behalf of ECHA, I would like to thank you for the good cooperation and the numerous contributions that you have made to the EU regulatory processes, from classification and labeling to evaluations and risk assessment under REACH, under Biocidal Products Regulation, and for the poison centers. Your work has and continues to contribute to improving management of chemicals and the health of EU citizens. There are many examples where your work has had a direct impact, such as the study you conducted on the level of compliance with REACH registration requirements, and your work on risk management, such as the EU restriction in tattoo inks, just to name a few. You also contributed on the data side. After all, what is risk assessment without solid, relevant information? You participate, for instance, in the international exchange of data through the OECD. And that, of course, contributes to the future vision to have a more harmonized and common databases for the management of different types of chemicals and products. And you have also contributed to developing different methodologies, such as the important work on developing non-animal methodologies that may provide information that can replace or reduce animal testing. And at the same time to see how such non-animal methods could be applied in a regulatory context for hazard and risk assessment. Working as you do on a broad regulatory portfolio also allows you to make interlinkages, for instance between industrial chemicals, biocides and pesticides. And that brings us also to the topic of one substance, one assessment. What can agencies that work in a regulatory context like BFR and ECHA do to work towards harmonizing assessments and avoiding conflicting opinions for the same substance? Well, there are different elements. First, we can work towards a common data platform, bringing together the information used in different areas. We can also take steps to better coordinate the different actions that authorities are taking, for instance by having a common authority activity overview. Cases like the parallel evaluation of sulfur dioxide under biocides and pesticides regulations, just to name one recent example, emphasize the need to move towards a one substance, one assessment approach. Working towards a common hazard assessment may provide actually a viable first step, where outcomes of the harmonized classification and labeling of substances are accepted as a basis for risk assessment in different regulatory areas. Ultimately, this can lead to harmonization and a more efficient chemicals management. One important note I would like to make on the topic of one substance, one assessment is that implementing measures alone will not be sufficient. It will also require regulatory alignment, so harmonization between the different legislations. If legislation continues to require different data for different purposes, continues to pose different questions to experts, and maintains different regulatory committees to answer them, then there is of course a high likelihood that also the answers the expert committees provide, even if it is about the same substance, will be different. So, ladies and gentlemen, the direction we need to go in the context of the European Green Deal are clear. In the past 20 years, you have been part of defining the history of chemicals management in Europe, and with the activities you undertake and the contributions you make, you have also assured your place in the future of EU chemicals management. to protect human health through sound scientific work. Congratulations again, and I wish you a nice event to celebrate the impact that you have had on protecting the health of millions of citizens and to embrace the future that lies ahead.